All right, welcome back to the Jacob Pearman Show. My name is Jacob Pearman. We're going to talk about what happened over the weekend in college football and NFL. College football had some very high-powered games over the weekend, especially at the noon games. The noon games included UCLA versus IU, and IU won that game 56-6. Rutgers versus Purdue, Rutgers won 27-24. Ole Miss versus Oklahoma. Ole Miss beat Oklahoma 34-26. Syracuse, Georgia Tech won 41-16. Virginia and North Carolina played, and that game went to overtime, and Virginia won on 17-16. Now, with those noon games, IU specifically has pretty much proven that they are a dominant team. They're going to beat everyone pretty much by 30-plus points besides a good team like Oregon where they had that game close. But every other team they're going to play against, they're pretty much going to put up 30-plus points on them. Excuse me. Purdue, Rutgers, that was an atrocity what happened at the end of that game. Purdue had a chance to go down and win it, and they fumbled that ball away to Rutgers, and Rutgers kicked the game-winning field goal to win it 27-24. Ole Miss pretty much is a really good team right now. Still, even after the loss to Georgia last week, I think Ole Miss will make the college football playoffs. They'll be a lower seed, but they should be a good team to watch in the college football playoffs. Georgia Tech is still a team I have that will make college football playoffs right now. With their wins, they keep impressing me so much right now. So it's going to be very good to see them playing. Virginia, North Carolina, that game was very interesting because North Carolina had a chance to win it in double OT with 2-point conversion. The player came up just a yard short of winning it. And as I said, IU continues to be a very dominant team, and maybe they'll be a dominant team going into the playoffs. I don't think they'll be a first-round exit like people think they will be because of the quarterback play this year versus last year. Better quarterback this year than last year, and defense is so much better this year than it was last year. Now, the afternoon games were packed full of some little bit of crazy thrillers that happened. Missouri versus Vanderbilt. Vandy won 17-10. Unfortunately, though, for Missouri, they lost their quarterback, Bo Pribula. He pretty much had a very nasty lower leg injury, and it did not look good, and he's out for the remainder of the season. Let's see. Bama and South Carolina. Bama, what a comeback win for them. They were down 2 scores with under 5 minutes left and came back to win it 29-22 with Jeremy Bernard scoring the last 2 touchdowns, a receiving touchdown and a rushing touchdown to end that game. Texas, Mississippi State, that game was insane. Texas won it in overtime, 45-38. Texas was down almost all game and came back to win it in a very much stunner in overtime. Now, Arch did go out for that last play, but still, even then, the back quarterback comes in, throws a dot, touchdown, wins it. Should be a decent season for Texas still. They'll probably make a very decent bowl game, but they are out of playoff contention with the 3 losses that they have. Now, BYU continues to be a really good team. They have won a lot of their games very decently. They won versus Iowa State 41-27. It should be interesting to see how the Big 12 goes because there's a lot of teams that I feel like even though they could win for the Big 12, there's a lot of things like shifting around right now, and determining who will win the Big 12 is going to be very interesting for right now. Yes, the night games were very much all right. Texas A&M versus LSU wasn't really a game for LSU. Texas A&M won it 49-25. Louisville played Boston College. They won 38-24. That game was close for a little bit, and then Louisville just kind of put it out in front by 2 scores. Michigan State. Michigan continues to pretty much manhandle Michigan State the past 4 years. They've won 31-20 this year, but they will continue to beat Michigan State for the past 4 years. They will probably keep eating them. Houston versus Iowa State versus Arizona State won 24-16. Arizona State had a chance to go down and win it with the final minute and didn't. did not look good for Arizona State's quarterbacks. Sam Levitt, he got hurt in that game, played hurt all game, and caused him to miss the last few drives. And they didn't want to, I think, injure him more, so they took him out and put the backup quarterback in for the last few drives of the game. And as well, another firing in the college football world happened over the weekend. LSU fired head coach Brian Kelly after pretty much another bad year. He's won these years, but he's had multiple more than three losses in his career there, and it's not good in the SEC to lose more than 3 games a year, because you get fired after that at many times. He's not really put up good numbers as well as a head coach, and it's gonna be very hard for him to get another head coaching job somewhere, but I think he will. I'm not sure where, but he'll be somewhere. Now, this weekend as well, there was a lot of these games had, I would say, a little bit bearing on the college football playoffs, with some of the teams that won and lost. There's a couple weeks left. We're going into week 10 this week with a couple weeks left before the championships for each teams and then college football playoffs. A lot of these games will be very much games that teams need to win to stay in contention or be out of contention for the college football playoffs. So these last few weeks have to be very important for these teams that are in the top 10 to about the 15 range to be considered college football playoff teams. Oh, we were. All right. So then the NFL has been really interesting this week too. Thursday Night Football was a blowout for the Chargers. The Chargers beat the Vikings 37-10. Wentz didn't look good, and then he was even announced that he's done for the year with a shoulder injury after having surgery. Is not going to be good for the Vikings. Hopefully, J.J. McCarthy will be back soon. If not, it'll be Sam Howell leading the team. But if you're a Vikings fan, you're probably hoping to at least have J.J. back to maybe help the team out a little bit, because Wentz did not look good, and the fact that he was hurt and played hurt still was not good at all for Vikings. Now, the 1 o'clock games were very interesting. The Ravens beat the Bears 30-16, but there's a very interesting story going on there too, with the fact that Lamar Jackson, he had practice, was full participant Friday during practice, but then was changed to limited participant on Saturday, and then was not available for the game on Sunday. And that is going to be really bad for the Ravens. They're going to have a couple fines, potential loss of a couple draft picks, maybe just one, but it was not good for them, and should be really interesting what happens to the Ravens. Now, the Bills beat the Panthers 40-6. James Cook had a really good game. He had over 218 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns in that game, and it was really good for him to have a good game like that. The Jets finally get a win. Took them long enough. They beat the Bengals 39-38. They were also down 2. Had a crazy comeback too to win that game. And it's just been very much crazy ride if you're a Jets fan, because the Jets have not looked, they've looked, I wouldn't say bad, but they didn't look good all year. But the win helps them a lot and should be interesting for them. Houston beats the 49ers 26-15. The Niners have been very much injury plagued, and it's starting to kind of show up in a couple of these games with the injuries they've packed on to many things. So it's going to be interesting to see how the 49ers end this year with the injuries they have had. Now, Miami beats the Falcons. Cousins gets the start for the Falcons. Tua as well had some sort of eye problem and played better with the eye problem and won it 34-10. It was very interesting because you could literally see the photos of everything. Of he woke up that morning, eye was very much swollen. He played with left eye swollen and was able to see really well of his right eye, but played much better too. His stats were really good in that game, and very interesting that he played that well with the sore eye. Now, the Patriots beat the Browns 32-13. There has been very much talks about the quarterback situation over there. Since Flacco left, Dylan Gabriel starting, and Stefanski keeps saying that he doesn't plan on any way or of starting Shedeur Sanders. Now, do I think that's a bad problem? I don't know. But if I was him, I would at least flounder the idea of having a quarterback competition soon, because Gabriel is not a good starting quarterback right now. And honestly, it has been shown throughout the multiple times of his incomplete passes, his inconsistency with putting the ball places. There's a lot of inconsistency. There's a lot of inaccurate throws. There's a lot of everything. And he has not been the guy for them. He's not been the reason they've been winning either. When they got their second win, it was all because Quinshon Judkins had crazy game, 3 touchdowns and everything. All touchdowns came from him. None of them came from Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel actually has thrown more interceptions than he has touchdowns as being the starting quarterback for the Browns, and that starts to become a problem for the Browns. And Stefanski is very much in the hot seat to stay as a head coach for the Browns, and wouldn't be surprised if he gets fired soon, if they lose another game and he decides to still not start Shedeur Sanders, because the fans are kind of wanting Sanders now, and Stefanski's still trying to say, like, oh, Gabriel's still the option, still the answer. When Dylan Gabriel's not being able to produce anything, it comes to a point where you might want to make the quarterback change very soon, because it's not looking good for them at all. And as well, during the 1 o'clock, Eagles beat the Giants 38-20. Scadaboo's injury was not good. A dislocated ankle. Had to have surgery on it Sunday night. It was very bad, very horrible to watch that happen to him. Dude's been playing really good all year. As well as during that game, I'm getting sick of the tush push. The refs need to find a way to actually officiate the tush push, because the Giants ripped the ball out before any forward progress was stopped, and they said, oh, we called forward progress. It's not forward progress if you blow the whistle after the ball's ripped out. That's when forward progress is stopped. It comes to a point where the NFL needs to either make a decision on how they plan to officiate it or just get rid of it, and it's leaning towards now that it's going to get banned, because the refs just keep letting anything and everything go for that play. Now, the afternoon games were really good. The Colts pretty much manhandled the Titans. They won 38-14. Jonathan Taylor should be a high MVP candidate. He's right now on pace to have the most rushing touchdowns as a running back. He's on pace to have a pretty good total scrimmage yards for the whole season too. It's just going to be very interesting, because as the Colts are 7-1, should be 8-0, and they are, honestly, they are a playoff team. Everyone can say that they've had easy schedule. Even the tough teams they play, like the Chargers and the Rams, they should have beat the Rams. And they beat the Chargers. They are a team that I think could win in the playoffs. I think they are a playoff team. I think it's going to be interesting when they get to the playoffs, and it's going to be interesting to see how the Colts continue to play. As well, during that afternoon games, Broncos beat the Cowboys 44-24. That wasn't really even a game. Dak Prescott looks like absolute trash. I think even though they got CeeDee Lamb back last week and they played real well, to this week to now playing real bad, you have a very inconsistent team all around, and I think the Cowboys have problems very much and need to be fixed. The Broncos look really good. Should be a really interesting year for them. Tampa beats the Saints 23-3. Tampa just pretty much still looks like a playoff team. Saints have got to get something together to at least get, I think, a couple more wins. They went to their rookie quarterback. They drafted Tyler Shook, which he's not that as good. He's not that good, and that team in general is not good whatsoever. It's going to be very interesting to see how that season goes for the Saints and the quarterback situation this year to next year. Now we'll talk about Sunday Night Football between the Packers and Steelers. Yeah. Packers won it 35-25. The Steelers really shot themselves in the foot all night long with the stupid penalties all night. The Steelers had the lead at halftime and pretty much blew it when they just did stupid penalties on special teams, stupid penalties on offense, defense, whatever. They were picking fights when they shouldn't have. It was not a good game to watch for if you're a Steelers fan, because they kept shooting themselves in the foot, doing stupid thing after stupid thing after stupid thing. Steelers could have won that game if they didn't do all the stupid penalties and everything. But as well as the Steelers had the highest paid defense, and they didn't look like the highest paid defense. It looked really bad for the Steelers. The Packers looked decent. It's going to be interesting for the rest of the year for both those teams to see how they get if both teams make the playoffs. Steelers should. Packers is going to be very interesting if they make the playoffs. Monday Night Football was a pretty much one-sided game. Chiefs beat the Commanders. Commanders didn't have Jaden Daniels. Mahomes, he looked all right. He was three touchdown passes, 2 interceptions. Mariota was the starting quarterback for the Commanders. He threw a touchdown and 3 interceptions. It was not a good game for the Commanders. The Chiefs just beat them easily. I mean, I couldn't believe it that it was at least one-sided. I would have thought at least the Commanders would have scored 2 touchdowns. Mariota was not happy at one point during the game. He got sacked on a 4th down play when he knew he would need to throw it away, or throw it at least to try to get a first down. He slammed the ball kind of the ground and punched the ground a little bit. He was not happy. The Chiefs defense was all over the place. They were keeping the Commanders in check. Should be an interesting year to see if the Chiefs might make the playoffs again. They might not, but how they've been playing right now, I think the Chiefs will be back in the playoffs. Commanders, they have got some work to do if Daniels is going to continue to have some of these minor injuries that set him back a couple weeks and have to rely on Mariota to start a lot more games. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that goes. As well as, I know I talk about football, but we're going to talk about a couple other things that happened last week. The NBA was caught in a very big betting scandal by the FBI. It wouldn't surprise me that there's more to it, and it's going to come out later on through the rest of the year. As of right now, there was like a couple kind of big names that were people that were arrested. Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier was arrested, and Damon Jones, I believe is his name, was arrested from playing for the Bucks. Yeah, it's not been a good look for some of these bigger names that were kind of known people be arrested. It's going to be interesting, though, because there might be more names, more people come out about being part of the scandal for other known betting things. One of it was for a poker game in Vegas with mafia members. That's why Chauncey Billups was arrested. And Terry Rozier was arrested for a game that happened back in 2023 where he was doing, went with this faked an injury, went out. So it's going to be very interesting there. The World Series is happening right now. Hopefully by the time this episode probably comes out, the World Series will be over. Because as of right now, I've watched games 1, 2, and 3 so far. I'll be watching game 4, and 5. But when I watched game 3, that game I never thought was going to end. 18 innings. It went. That game did not end until 2:51 in the morning when Freddie Freeman finally hit a home run after coming up short earlier in the inning, in extra innings in 13th inning. I believe, if I remember correctly, it was 13th inning. He missed it by a couple feet. A couple Dodgers players missed some home runs as well in extra innings. But when Freddie was up in the 18th inning, first at bat, in the 18th, he was the first one up. They got him in a full count, and I literally said, Lord, let him hit this game-winning home run so I can go to bed. He hit it. That ball went all the way center field, and I said, thank you, Jesus. I'm turning this off. I'm going to bed, because I was at that point tired of the game. I wanted it to end in the 13th or 14th inning. It went to 18, and I just could not stay awake probably past that 18th inning. If it was going to go longer than 18, I was going to go to bed past that, but I wanted to stay up to watch to see what would happen, and I was very glad to also see Clayton Kershaw come in 12th and at least given a couple pitches before he retires. He's a definite Hall of Famer, and it was good to see him at least come in once to pitch during the World Series. He might come in another game and pitch. He probably won't be a starter, but maybe a closer for another game. But it will be very interesting to see if Kershaw comes back, maybe for Game 5. They put him in for 8th or 9th inning for a couple for a couple pitches. Now we'll talk about this weekend's games, especially college. We'll go college football first, because there's a couple interesting games that will happen over the weekend on Week 10. So Friday, I mean, there's not really any good game yet unless you want to watch North Carolina and Syracuse. I expect Syracuse to win that game. Yeah, I mean, North Carolina might win that game. Syracuse might. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. See how that goes. Penn State, Ohio State will be a game to watch. Watch if you're a fan of either one of those teams. Ohio State should win it, but it's going to be very interesting because Penn State's not ranked anymore. You don't have your starting quarterback. Your head coach isn't there anymore. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that game goes with the backup quarterback. I don't expect Penn State to win it, but unless they pull some miracle win, it would be very interesting to see what would happen there. Vanderbilt plays Texas at noon. If I had to choose, I would choose Vandy to win it. I mean, I know they're at Texas, but I would choose Vandy to win it. But unless Texas somehow upsets them, it will be very interesting to see how that game goes. Miami and SMU play at noon as well. I feel like this could be a game that Miami gets upset. This is one of their few games that they have left the state of Florida. And so maybe finally they lose a game that's not in the state of Florida, because they've played most of their games this year in Florida besides one other game. So maybe they lose this game to SMU, mainly because of the possibility of having to leave the state, time zones to change, whatever. I know it's a noon game. If it was a later game, I would give Miami the advantage, but I feel like SMU might pull off the upset here because they're going to be in Texas. Let's see. What else do we have during the noon game? Any other good game here? Maybe Navy and North Texas. North Texas have been a very interesting team this year. Last week, their quarterback put up 600 plus yards in one game. Navy has been a really good team this year, but it should be interesting to see how that game goes between those two. If I had to choose, I would go Navy, but I feel like North Texas could win that game. I know neither one of them are ranked, but it's a very interesting game that people probably should watch just to see what happens. Oh, Arizona State and Iowa State will be playing each other. Should be interesting. I don't know if Sam Levitt will be able to play Saturday at 1 versus Iowa State. If he does, I think they might get the win, but they're going to be at Iowa State. I would give Iowa State the win, but I feel like Arizona State could win if Levitt is healthy enough to play. Now, the 3 o'clock hour, we got Louisville and Virginia Tech. Louisville should win that game, but who knows how this season has gone with college football. You never know who's going to win, who's going to lose. IU plays Maryland. That should be a very easy win for IU. They should be able to beat Maryland very easily. Georgia will be at Florida. I feel like Georgia should win it, but last year they almost lost to Florida. I wouldn't be surprised if there's upset here. I know Billy Napier's no longer the head coach of Florida, but I wouldn't be shocked if Florida upsets Georgia here in very much reasonable fashion of some sort. It's just gonna be a very interesting game to watch to see what happens. So I wouldn't be surprised if Florida upsets Georgia here. Notre Dame, Boston College. Notre Dame should win that game versus Boston College. Boston College just looked good in some of their games they played, but then they looked bad as well. So should be an interesting game. Texas Tech plays Kansas State. I don't know about Texas Tech's quarterback situation because their backup quarterback got hurt last week. He's done for the year. Their starting quarterback should be back, but who knows for that game. I would still say Texas Tech wins this game, but Kansas State could win it too, so it's going to be very interesting. South Carolina plays Ole Miss. Give me Ole Miss for that game. Even though South Carolina took Alabama for each quarter, I feel like Ole Miss, they're going to be at home. They should beat South Carolina very easily. Georgia Tech plays North Carolina State. Georgia Tech should win that game very easily. Oklahoma and Tennessee. That should be very interesting. I don't think Oklahoma and Tennessee are very good teams. If I had to choose which one to win it, though, I would go I'm leaning towards Tennessee since they're going to be at Knoxville. But I feel like Oklahoma could upset Tennessee like they did last year. No, that was Arkansas. But I feel like Oklahoma could beat Tennessee, so give me Oklahoma for the upset there. Let's see. USC, Nebraska. USC should win that game. It would be interesting if Nebraska wins it, but USC, I think, should win it easily. It'll be a very good game, a very decent game to watch. Let's see what else. The late game between Utah and Cincinnati. They're going to be at Utah. Give me Cincy for the win. Cincinnati's very much, I would say, they're a good team, but I would say Cincy beats Utah in that game. Now let's talk NFL. You got Thursday night football matchup between Baltimore and Miami. Give me Baltimore. I think Lamar should be back for that Thursday night football matchup. I feel like the reason they didn't start playing him was they were hoping that Tyler Huntley could win a game, even with the problems that the potential fines and everything that was going on. I think Lamar comes back for Thursday night football, plays, beats Miami. Bears and Bengals play. Give me the Bears. Bengals, I don't think will win it unless old man Flacco can pull some sort of mysterious win versus the Bears. Excuse me. Minnesota, Detroit. That's going to depend on quarterback. Give me Detroit for right now because I don't know if McCarthy's going to start or even if Sam Howell starts. It's just going to depend on quarterback play for that game. For sure. Panthers, Packers. Give me the Packers. I think until Bryce Young is... Because when Bryce has played versus Andy Dalton, Panthers have been better. Give me Packers over the Panthers. Chargers, Titans, Chargers. I think Chargers will beat the crap out of Titans. Falcons, Patriots. Give me Patriots. I think Patriots have a really good team. It's going to be very hard to stop them. Niners, Giants. Give me the Giants. I think Giants, even without Scatterboo, I think Dart puts up some sort of crazy game and wins it. Now, this game is going to be very interesting. Colts at Steelers. Honestly, I know people are going to lean towards possibly Steelers win it, but give me the Colts. I think the Colts have the defense to stop Rodgers. I think if some teams look at how the Packers played versus Steelers on Sunday Night Football, I feel like the Colts can win. Denver versus Houston. Give me the Broncos. I think Broncos win that game very easily over Houston. Jacksonville versus Raiders. Jags are coming off a bye week. Raiders have not been good either, and they're coming off a bye week too. I know the Jags have won more games, but I just feel like, yeah, give me the Raiders. I feel like the Raiders might upset the Jags. Rams are gonna beat the crap out of the Saints. Chiefs and Bills. I don't know for this one. I want to say Bills, but I feel like the Chiefs could win it. I know they're gonna be at Buffalo. I'm just gonna call that one a toss-up game. Honestly, I feel like the Bills are probably gonna win, but I feel like the Chiefs could win too. So it's gonna be very interesting. And then the Sunday Night Football game is Seattle, Washington. Give me Seattle. Unless Daniels is gonna play. I don't see Washington win that game. And then Monday Night Football is between Cardinals, Cowboys. Man, I don't know. I would say Cardinals, but I feel like the Cowboys will win it. But it's gonna be very interesting. So, yeah, this next week of football will be very interesting. Yeah. So for week 9 for NFL is gonna be very interesting. Week 10 for college football is gonna be very interesting. So it's just gonna be a very interesting weekend for football. So yeah, it's just gonna be very interesting. I'm not sure what else to say besides that because there's a lot of things that are gonna happen. There's a lot of games that will be played, a lot of games that are not going to be played because of bye weeks for college as well. There's a lot of teams that have bye weeks this week, so going to be very interesting. So yeah. Well, I think that's pretty much about it. I feel like I've talked a lot about football and everything else that's going to be going on. So yeah, I'll end it here with a quick prayer and we'll be done. So yep, thank you, Jesus, for allowing me to do this. Still allowing me to watch football, allow me to keep doing this podcast, allow people to listen and understand everything about football and everything else. Lord, in Jesus' name I pray, amen. Thank you all for watching.